Hello and welcome to One Storyteller, where we are in The Two Towers, Chapter 5, The White Rider. I'm Reagan.
I'm Andrew.
Excellent. And here, I guess it's been a couple weeks since we recorded, but it will not be on the recording. So we are in the... These are a couple of chapters we're going to talk about in the next couple of episodes. Chapter 5 and Chapter 6. You like Chapter 6?
Yeah.
Do you like Chapter 5 or do you dislike it, or is it just mid?
There are, overall, I think it's one of, the lower, if I were ranking the chapters, I think it'd be one of the lower ranked chapters in The Two Towers.
Cool. True.
Spoiler, we get to meet the White Rider in this chapter.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of neat Tolkien wisdom in the mouths of Aragorn and Gandalf throughout here that I appreciate seeing.
Gandalf? I thought he was dead.
Oh, wait, and the White Rider.
Interesting. Spoilers for Chapter 5, by the way.
Yep.
If anyone is still surprised.
But it's not bad. I think there are a couple decisions, like Gandalf's pseudo-amnesia, that seem kind of odd to me, that aren't really followed up on.
Yep.
But they're certainly very, very far from deal breakers.
Yeah.
It's just not stand out to me compared to the other chapters.
Fair enough. I feel like there are... I said this right before we started recording. I feel like this is a prototype chapter that he wrote and then made some other creative decisions and then didn't come back and edit the chapter.
Really?
Yeah, just the couple of weird details, and we'll get there.
That's a bold claim.
As we go
I'm
through.
Interested to see this.
It just doesn't make sense. Okay, anyway, we will we will get through it. So this chapter 4 was all about Merry and Pippin. Well, chapters 3 and 4 were all about
3 and 4, yeah.
Merry and Pippin. These chapters 5 and 6 are all about Aragorn and the squad.
Yeah.
Aragorn
Chapter
is part of the
7
squad.
too.
Yes. I haven't read ahead though.
And
so.
chapter 8.
Oh, well, now I'm getting spoiled. I don't even know what's happening anymore. We've got Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and this is going back to, we left off, they saw some old man in the woods.
Yeah.
Which is we'll get there at the end of the chapter. Thoughts. This is the morning after they saw that old man and their horses ran away.
Yes.
And they're looking around. They can't find any traces of the old man, not even any footprints or anything like that, which is kind of weird and vaguely spooky. And so Gimli says, the horses have been scared off. And Aragorn says, no, they sounded happy.
Yes.
So who knows? We'll get there. Eventually there's an explanation for that later in the chapter. They start searching around. And are they, at this point, I forget, are they still they're by the orc pile of carcasses?
Not very far from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not in the forest yet.
They're just on the eaves of the forest.
Yes. So they're looking around. They do find traces of the hobbits, not in the orc camp. They find the remnants of the Lorien food. What's it called? The limbus bread.
Yeah.
They find crumbs and some leaves and some cut ropes. And Aragorn just kind of surmises the whole story from that.
He's a good tracker.
Apparently so. He's a very good tracker. Able to
it feels
make
like
guesses.
A reasonable progression of guesses.
A lot of it does, I think. That's where I have to end that. I don't know. He's able to guess everything so accurately that it feels like it's on the edge of unbelievability, but it doesn't really matter because he ultimately says, I don't really know, and they have to go search for the hobbits anyway.
I think for pacing, it makes sense to order it the way Tolkien did.
Yeah.
But, and again, this is something that just does not bother me as much as
Yeah.
it sort of bothers you.
Yeah.
Is it does? I can see how it feels a bit like, oh, what's the word? Like it's almost a bit silly to like, we've already read what happened,
Mhm.
and now here's this character. It's like, I'm pretty sure this happened.
Yeah.
Like the other way doesn't make it. It probably wouldn't seem as silly that way. Then maybe there'd be a couple different problems, but
Yeah, if they had done the Aragorn scene before the
Yeah,
Merry and
yeah.
Pippin thing. Yeah. Which is kind of what they do in the movie. Or at least they put them side by side
yeah,
and they like
something
run
you can do there in the
concurrently.
movie. Yeah,
So that makes sense. The thing with this is, especially because Aragorn ends up saying, I don't really know the answer and I could totally be wrong. So why am I spending time thinking about this? Let's
Well,
go into the
okay,
forest.
that's a bit much.
Is it though?
It's an educated guess. He says, "I'm pretty sure this happened. I'm not sure, but since this is a likely possibility, we should keep looking."
Well, yeah, but it's like, he sees the Hobbit trail, says, "Oh, the hobbits are free. Looks like they went into the forest."
Yeah.
And then he spends a minute just telling
Well,
like a repetition of what could have happened.
Well, I think the Hobbit trail and the forest, at least deciding to go in there, is after seeing some of those initial clues that drew them out to that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, but like you could accomplish the same thing by saying, "Oh, here are clues heading towards the forest. I guess we should look in the forest."
Mm-hmm.
As you could what the book actually does, which is, "Hey, here are clues heading into the forest. I guess an orc picked them up and dragged them over here. I don't really know why. Let's go look in the forest." And you end up in the same place. It just feels very odd because there's like a whole extra bit in there to reinforce.
I'll stand by Tolkien
competence?
here. I don't really think this is silly or undermining
It's
anything.
very silly.
No,
It's
no.
very silly. It doesn't really matter, but it's one of those things that's very silly. So,
Very silly is crazy.
yes, he concludes at least Merry or Pippin escaped.
One
Doesn't know
hobbit.
about both of them, at least not for a little bit. So they go into Fangorn Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and Legolas says, "This is an old forest,
Yes,
and I would have liked it one time."
he does like it. He just wishes he had more time to spend
Mhm.
there.
And then they keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking around, they find 2 Dale footprints of 2 different sizes that are hobbit footprints. So there's confirmed Merry and Pippin are both alive. Then Aragorn finds something and doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming that's like Treebeard's footprint.
it is. It's almost certainly.
Fair enough, because they get to that same
He's
hill.
like, what is this?
Yeah, they get to the same hill that Merry and Pippin were on.
Yeah.
And then Legolas says basically the same thing Merry and Pippin said, which is like, "I want a breath of fresh air, and it looks nice up there."
Mm-hmm.
And so they are very much retracing the Hobbit's footsteps. And then, of course, Treebeard kidnapped them from the hill and took them away. So they can't find, sort of, adult napped, technically. Well, at least for Merry. Merry's an adult. I don't think Pippin is. But Treebeard comes in and removes them from the premises, which is why there are no footprints leading away from the hill.
Yeah.
That makes sense of that mystery. But again, it's like Aragorn is in an area that he's not familiar with, and he doesn't know what the Ents are, or he does, but he doesn't think they still exist.
Yeah, they really are just a vague legend.
And so he's not really sure what to do at this point. It happens as they look out, they see an old man in gray rags. And they say, "Oh, that guy's kind of sus. We should probably go hunt him down to see what's going on."
Gimli is immensely skeptical.
Yes. Gimli is the most skeptical. Legolas is...
Legolas and Aragorn are both reacting the same way,
mhm.
which is, we don't know for sure who this is. We can't just shoot him randomly.
Yes. Well, Legolas is like, he's in a trance, sort of. It's very odd.
Well, they all arrive at that place later.
Yes.
When he raises his bow and then lowers it, he's almost certainly thinking what Aragorn will later articulate.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Which even speak of the little details that irritate me.
Yeah.
How do you both bend a bow and then hold an arrow in your hand but not put it on the string? Right before Aragorn says, "Let's not shoot the guy in the back." It says Legolas bent his bow, and he held an arrow loosely in his hand but didn't fit it to the string, which seems kind of difficult to me.
If that was sort of happening all at the same time. I guess it wouldn't just be like a progression of events, though.
No, because you can't bend a bow while you don't have an arrow on the string.
Well, maybe it is a mistake. Last time we were dead wrong about that. It couldn't it also be like he bent the bow, and then he unbent the bow and is now holding the arrow?
I guess so. It just doesn't specify. It just doesn't say it.
Yeah, it's sort of a weird phrasing. I can
Fair
grant you that.
Very odd. Anyway, again, something that doesn't matter at all.
No,
But maybe indicative of other things that are coming up in this chapter. So, old man. How would you like to go about revealing the identity of this old man?
everybody already knows who it is.
No, we don't. He's an old man. He has a hat
Yes.
and a hood.
Yep.
Yes. So no, we have to save that for later for the reveal. That's terrible. They've been told that Saruman, I guess we'll talk about it now a little bit.
Go ahead.
They've been told that Saruman walks in the woods hooded and cloaked.
Mm-hmm.
The man they saw last night wore a hat but not a hood, which is what Aragorn brought up at the end of chapter 2.
Yeah.
This man is wearing a hat and a hood.
Yes.
So, and there's more commentary on how that works at the end of the chapter. They see a big nose, and they see like underneath, because he's wearing some kind of gray cloak garment thing, but underneath it, of course, he's wearing white, and it's mildly terrifying to them, especially Gimli.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because that's all that they know is that Saruman wears white, and that's probably bad.
Yeah.
The old man climbs up a cliff, a rock wall.
It's the path that they came up.
Yes, he's climbing up to meet them and to sit down with them, to just greet them and talk about their history and who they are and where they come from. He knows about the hobbits. He knows that they are seeking hobbits and that that's their job. He knows that they don't have to seek hobbits anymore because something's happened to them. And then Gimli tries to kill him, and Gandalf reveals that he is, in fact, Gandalf.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know his name.
Not right away.
Tell me more about that. Because this is one of your complaints with the chapter.
Okay.
Or where does that begin?
It's this whole situation. It isn't. I teased a little bit like Gandalf's pseudo amnesia, like what's up there, but really, any exasperation I have, which is admittedly not too much. Sorry, is any exasperation I have is more directed toward this slow, sort of unnecessary reveal, it seems to me.
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien is going to say, well, the explanation is Gandalf just got resurrected. That's kind of rough. He's forgotten much that he'd known before, and he's learned a whole lot that he'd forgotten, which I think is fair enough as an explanation.
Sure.
But it definitely is.
It's a little bit hand wavy, but it's in line with Gandalf's magic in general. So
Yeah. Well, I don't think hand wavy is the right thing to say.
Well, I don't know how it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That is true.
Yeah.
That's not limited to just Gandalf. That's magic of every sort.
Yes. Is it so he's been resurrected. Is it like the gods who sent him back?
The god.
The god.
Yeah.
Was that the god who originally sent him back, or is that a different one? Like, I really don't know the.
No.
I watched your Silmarillion video, but I don't know what it meant.
No, it's I don't remember who sent him originally. So there's all these other gods or angels. They're called the Valar.
Bro, just like in Heroescape.
That's wild. But there is the god above them is Eru Iluvatar.
Okay.
He's the one who created all the angels, all the creatures that would later become Valar and evil versions of them and all that. It may have been one of the angels originally responsible for sending the Astari, but Eru Iluvatar is the one who he's the only one with authority to do something like resurrect somebody.
Yeah.
So
cool.
With maybe one exception. So that's fun.
Does that ever come up in these?
Not in these books.
Okay. Interesting. So again, Tolkien does the weird thing where he explains. He seems to detail the world by the dialogue of characters instead of just descriptions. So even like,
well, I think he does both. But go ahead.
He can do both. Yes. But it's like this guy. They looked at him. His hair was white. His robes were white. He has eyebrows. He has power. And then Aragorn says, it's Gandalf. And the first time you hear about it being Gandalf is not as a description that says it was Gandalf, but as Aragorn saying, Gandalf, I didn't recognize you.
Yes.
Which is, again, it feels odd, but it's in line with Tolkien's descriptive style.
Okay. So it feels like it's maybe a little suspect because it's a character saying it instead of a narrator?
Well, it's not suspect. It's just not how a normal book would be written.
I don't know. I think since he's made the decision, to me, like the most questionable decision in the chapter, to like draw out Gandalf's reveal, I think that makes a lot of sense to have him get revealed by characters crying out his name.
Yeah. It can. It can. It's not a horrible way to do it. It's just curious. I don't know of any other book that would describe him only by the person and not just saying it in the narration of the book. If you read any different fantasy story, at least any of the ones that I've read, I can't recall anything else that would do it like that. But that's how Tolkien does a lot of the more descriptive elements, is giving them to the mouths of characters.
I think it's a good technique, regardless of how common it is.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting. It gives a different feel to the story.
Yeah.
For good or ill. I don't actually mind it. It's just
okay. Gotcha.
It's odd every time I come across it. I say, huh. So he forgot his name.
Yes, that was my name. I was Gandalf. That's what people called me.
Yeah. And he's still Gandalf.
Yeah.
But he is different. He says a couple paragraphs down that he's the reincarnation of Gandalf, but like also Saruman. Or like the idealized form.
And I don't think it makes sense to read that super literally.
Yeah.
Like he's going to own the name Mithrandir Gandalf.
Yeah. Does Mithrandir just mean Gandalf?
Well,
or like
I think they have different
for
meaning.
him.
Yes, it belongs solely to him.
Okay.
Yes.
Have we heard that before?
Yes, in Lothlorien. That's what those elves called him.
Okay.
That's sort of the Elven and Gondorian name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe Legolas is the first identifier of Gandalf then.
Yeah.
If I was paying more attention to
you just saying random elvish stuff. No, but Gandalf is going to act like he is Gandalf because he is Gandalf.
Yeah.
He just is a little woozy in the head right now,
Yes.
which is fun.
Yeah.
But he
Drunk
does
Gandalf.
say, "I'm Saruman as he should have been."
Mm-hmm.
He's been given. We're gonna see. I'll just allude to this, but in the final confrontation between Gandalf and Saruman in this book, Gandalf has a lot more authority and power now than he did before.
Yes.
And I think we see little hints that his role has changed some. Like he's not just supposed to be a supporter, an advisor now. Like he's given authority to unmask himself a bit more than before.
Yeah. Well, it talks about how we get a little bit of history on like what happened to Gandalf in the in between, and it does talk about how he's the White Wizard now, and he took counsel and like gave counsel. It seems, and so just like Saruman was in charge of the White Council of the land, while he was the White Wizard, Gandalf steps into his role and gets to be the leader instead of just the sidekick supporting character.
Yeah.
It was back in book 1 that Saruman was like, I've become Saruman of many colors.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
I liked white better.
Yeah.
Amazing dialogue.
Well, that kind of pays off here because
Yeah,
Gandalf ends up inheriting the white instead of Saruman keeping it. He dirtied his robes, and so God said, well, I guess I don't have a use for you anymore.
But that is actually what happens.
That's pretty much 1 for 1. I do find, I don't know what to make of this because I know it's definitely not 1-to-1.
Okay.
But you do have Aragorn making the statement of Gandalf, like, I didn't recognize you. What veil was over my eyes? Which is very much the statement that the 2 people on the road to Emmaus are making when Jesus appears to them in Luke 24.
Yes.
But then Gandalf kind of doesn't know who he is, but Jesus always did. And so it's far from being parallel. I just am curious about the resurrection into people didn't actually recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
that's part of it, but he decides to do his own thing with it.
Yeah.
Like it's certainly not a neat parallel, just like you just said. But there could be like some inspiration there.
Yeah. I assume there's some kind of background.
There's like a couple neat resurrection, like Christian resurrection parallels.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter is one of them. It's really subtle. You might not pick up on it.
That's crazy.
But I do like it. It's neat that what is it? He falls into darkness. He's the one who sacrificed himself to save them from the Balrog.
Yes.
Which is sort of this embodiment of hellish power.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't have escaped the Balrog without Gandalf's sacrifice.
Yeah.
But it's because of Gandalf's sacrifice. Like, he's resurrected because the god Eru Ilúvatar says, you were faithful. I'm going to make you more faithful and more power now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You were faithful in a few things. I have made you over many things.
And that's exactly the pattern unfolding here. Mm-hmm. And he's also something that's neat to see is Aragorn, and we'll come back to talk about Aragorn some more because I think he's really neat in this chapter. But Aragorn, this is the first time he says he actually has hope. We've dealt with a couple, like, into Fellowship of the Ring, almost just the latter half of the Fellowship of the Ring, and all the chapters we've seen with Aragorn so far, he says, we don't really have hope, but we have to keep doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now his hope is restored. This servant of light, this guy who's helped protect them from darkness, is back. Yeah. And Aragorn knows that's game-changing.
Yeah. So you see that picture. Good for Aragorn. I'm glad he. It's a mark of his excellence of character that he did not give up when Gandalf was gone.
Yeah.
But I am glad he has hope now instead of just being stranded all alone.
This chapter is best when you read it as like a fun chapter.
That's a nice way to get around a couple of things.
Yeah. Like if you're nitpicking hats and bowstrings.
Oh,
You're missing out on a lot.
you have to. It's so interesting. Speaking of the weird resurrection parallels, it's quite interesting that, to me, because Gandalf eventually, he kind of in the latter half of the chapter explains what happened with the whole Balrog thing and why.
Yes,
all that history there.
Which is an epic battle description.
Yes. Well, I find it interesting that he was mostly running away from it because it was the great enemy. But then when he falls down with it, he's the one who's chasing it through all the tunnels until he just kills it. So something happens in the fall that was like, okay, I win now. And then Gandalf just hunts the thing down.
Well, it sounds like in the Gandalf's retelling of those events, desperation was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The Balrog acted like he knew the way out, and Gandalf's like, I don't know. I'm going to follow you.
Fair enough. And he won. Until I smote his ruin upon the mountainside.
That hits different.
A great line.
But technically it's a draw, right?
Yeah. I mean, they both do die.
Yeah.
It's just one of them comes back to life. It's like the whole Daniel thing that I was talking about a couple nights ago.
Oh, yes.
Daniel 6. Anyway.
They're both thrown into the lion's den. Only one guy gets out.
Yep. Only the good one. So Gandalf, he reappears, basically. And this is where we get confirmation. The eagle was his, like the scouting eagle, which I assumed.
You were starting to get a little suspicious about that.
Yes. Primarily because I knew that Gandalf was coming back. And so, like, I don't know.
You need to look out for something like that.
Yeah. If I had not known, then maybe it would be a mystery. But as it is.
Well, Tolkien was drawing attention to the fact there was an eagle around.
Yeah.
For a little while now.
Yeah. That was Gwaihir. Gwaihir's a cool guy, I guess. He's pretty useful. And then there are a bunch of little Gandalf moments here that are confusing.
Okay.
He says he just fought off Sauron.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So remember when Frodo is struggling on top of Amon Hen?
Yes. This
is what Gandalf is referring to. Take it off, you fool. Take it off.
Wait, he was talking to Frodo on Amon Hen? What does it mean he sat in a high place? Is it just like he was metaphorically there with Frodo?
I think that he was on a mountain. He could look away with his mind.
Huh. I will have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Curious.
The voice, when you first see it in the Fellowship of the Ring,
I don't remember how it's described.
It sort of seems like it's Frodo's, even though it's sort of ambiguous. It says Frodo hears a voice. Yeah. Take it off, you fool. Take it off.
Okay.
But retroactively, it's like, okay, that does sound a lot like Gandalf.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess.
And remember, you have the arm of Sauron groping over trying to find Frodo.
Yeah.
And then it's led away.
Yeah.
So part of that is Frodo's force of will. But Gandalf was telling him to take it off while actively pushing away Sauron's mind with his mind.
Yes. Which Gandalf has developed mind powers.
I think he's had them. But we haven't.
Has he?
Yeah.
Just the ability to read minds and stuff?
Yeah, there's little hints at that throughout the books.
Okay. Has he ever had them? I don't think he's had them to this degree.
We haven't seen him use them to this degree.
Yeah,
at least
he has read the mind of Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, there's different turns of phrase.
Mm-hmm. I forget exactly where that comes.
It's sort of like when Galadriel says that. I don't think she means she's literally read his mind, which I think we disagreed about a little bit. But instead, these people understand the mind of Sauron.
Yes.
And I think that's another neat idea in this chapter is that, and it's something that Tolkien keeps exploring. The whole book, we know something Sauron, the whole series, we know something Sauron doesn't until right before he dies, which is these crazy people aren't going to use the ring, they're going to destroy it. Evil can't understand such a self-sacrificial, action of desperate hope.
Yeah.
But Tolkien says in contrast, the wise, people like Galadriel, Gandalf, and Aragorn, they can understand Sauron's motivation, even though he can't exactly understand theirs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Curious. There is, so he has Sauron. He understands Sauron. He understands Saruman as well.
oh yeah,
And those are the main two. Saruman comes up a little bit later. Before he gets there, he talks to Boromir, or about Boromir.
oh yes. I want to ask you a question about this after you're done.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
A question.
Gandalf says Boromir escaped peril at the end.
Mm-hmm.
What's your interpretation of that? I've heard two different ones. One of them sort of depressing.
Yeah. I'm probably along the depressing one if I had to
You think
guess.
so?
Well, he says, poor Boromir, it was a sore trial, but he escaped, which is to say, it's like tough, but he died, so he's not tempted anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the answer is.
Yeah.
That's how I read it. Is that the depressing one, or is that?
That's the depressing one.
Well,
I think that's
there's joy in that.
There's
I mean,
there's a possibility there. Like there's a truth. Like death is sort of an escape from that.
yeah.
But I think death is only truly an escape from that because of what he did earlier. So I think that is more what Gandalf is referring to, even if there's some overlap.
Like how he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he tries to, well, I guess they're not privy to that, but Aragorn and Gandalf both know. Sorry, I'm phrasing this terribly. Gandalf knows because Aragorn tells him, rather, that Boromir goes to rescue the hobbits, which is, you can't get much different of a contrast for Boromir, right? Trying to rob a hobbit, protecting hobbits, and dying to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that may be the escape Gandalf is chiefly referring to.
Yeah, he didn't give in to the evil.
Yeah.
At the end, even when it was.
It walloped him pretty good.
Yeah.
But he didn't let it keep him down.
Yeah. And it's true with Frodo because he eventually came back to good. And it's true with Merry and Pippin because he was willing to give whatever it took to try and keep them around.
Yeah.
And so it's the idea that he was not ultimately conquered by the evil, but even while he was dying, he was good and dedicated. And so you have that. It's a nice picture.
It is. Yeah.
It's hopeful. So I think I'm kind of counting that in the.
I see.
In the
you can't
thing.
have the death being the escape without that.
Yeah, he was solidified as a great man because he died in a great way.
I think it's philosophically problematic.
Probably.
If you say Gandalf's like, whew, glad he died.
Yeah, nobody's happy that Boromir has died, but everybody's happy that Boromir was
died
a good
well.
warrior.
Yeah. I think
Honorable.
that's the emphasis there that clarifies it.
True.
I heard someone say, well, I think Gandalf's referring to that Boromir can't be tempted anymore if he's dead. Like, just exclusively focusing on that. I'm like, I don't think so. I really hope not.
Yeah. That is true, but I don't think that's the whole extent of it. Yeah. Boromir, so there's that bit. Sauron knows about the Fellowship, thinks the ring is being taken to Minas Tirith.
Almost was.
Very close to being so, but thankfully that's not the plan. But Sauron's unaware, and so that's probably going to come up later, I guess. And then there's this note here that Sauron is, because of that, he's mustering his troops and basically going to war before he was ready for it.
Yes.
Which is to say, don't move in haste like the Ents. Like the Ents tell you not to.
There you go.
And maybe don't. I think I'm a little bit confused on the timeline, but I think that's probably a discussion to happen in chapters 7 and 8. I think.
What discussion? Sorry.
The Entish timeline and when they're moving where.
Yeah,
because
that's something.
This conversation is taking place.
It's like during the beginning
during
of the
the
Entmoot.
Yes.
It's just the Entmoot has just started.
Yes.
So we have basically 3 days from here.
So in the next chapter, when they're traveling to Theoden, that's the first time they meet Quickbeam.
I think that's
and
right.
like spend the night at his house would be
Yeah.
the travel evening or something like that. So I don't know. I'll have to see how that
Yeah.
comes together
There's
in
a
the Helm's Deep
chapter that
chapter.
will
And
sort of give a more precise timeline of
yes,
things.
okay, cool. So don't move in haste. The Ents do not move in haste.
That's right.
Allegedly. I have to throw that in there until I know. So Sauron is moving in haste, and that's not going to go well for him. Saruman has also been moving in haste.
I like these parallels.
And so Saruman has been a traitor to the good guys.
Strike one.
For quite a while, but he's kind of inadvertently helped them out. Just like the Sauron versus Saruman orc infighting let Merry and Pippin go free, so too has the Sauron and Saruman infighting let Merry and Pippin go free, and like caused a lot of problems for Sauron's end of things.
Yeah.
This is where I do have to ask the question, what is the relationship between Sauron and Saruman? Or like, how would you quantify?
Well, right now our heroes don't really know precisely.
Yeah. Does that clarify later? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to spoil it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, based off information we've already seen.
Yeah.
Saruman has been, when Saruman made the offer to Gandalf,
Yes.
he said, we need to join that power and later we can supplant it.
Yes.
So that's we've already seen that that's sort of Saruman's plan and end goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the complaints I hear about the movies being the adaptation is that Saruman and Sauron are working together.
Yeah.
Is usually the complaint I hear. But it sounds like they're working together.
Right.
At least
they sort of are. By the time
broad
we're
strokes.
like introduced to their dynamic, like we start seeing it, which is mostly in this book.
Mhm.
By this time we see Saruman has already made his play for independence, which
Yes.
is I'm going to send my orcs to ambush the Fellowship and hopefully get the ring.
Yeah.
So they were working together. They're both fighting the free men of the West.
Yeah.
But Saruman has already made his big betrayal play. And Sauron doesn't know for sure because like no one knows what happened with the orcs and the hobbits.
Yes, because all the orcs are just gone.
So Sauron rather is suspicious, but he can't pin Saruman down precisely yet.
Yeah. So they are vaguely cooperating, but not well.
No.
Saruman's working at cross purposes. Cool. Okay. Good to know.
That's not one. I have plenty of complaints about the movie. That's not one of mine.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna simplify something, that makes a good deal of sense to simplify.
Yeah. Do you think the Two Towers is named the Two Towers because it is Saruman and Sauron working together, or do you think it's just because they're the two things that they're dealing with?
There's one tower in the first half of the book and another tower in the second half of the book. I think that's what it's talking about. In the movies, I think it's emphasized more to be.
Well, there's an explicit line that it's the union of the two towers.
Yeah. I think he sort of reinterprets it, and that's fine. But I don't think that's what Tolkien intended the title for.
Okay. Fair enough. Gandalf makes the point. Saruman has lost already. He just doesn't know it yet. And this is the I read his mind and I know this, which I guess is another mark of his authority. I assume he wouldn't be able to read Saruman's mind before.
Yeah. Well, I think this is again a turn of phrase. Again, Gandalf has such a power that it's sort of ambiguous. But if you can perceive the mind, understand the mind of Sauron, then you can understand the mind of his lackey, Saruman, especially when you talked to him earlier when he was trying to explain to you why you should be evil.
Yeah, I mean, just the phrase, I look into his mind and I see his doubt is
I think it's supposed to
magical.
Evoke that sort of magic and authority. But I don't think in this case it's literal.
I think it's still a metaphorical thing. Interesting. So
I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Probably, definitely.
Thanks, man.
No worries. There is a Nazgul who is flying, and Legolas says, "I shot that guy," and Gandalf says, "That was cool."
Yeah.
I liked that you did that.
Yeah. And Gandalf says, but they got more, and that wraith is still around.
Yes. And I was looking back at this in Fellowship of the Ring a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
When they go to leave Rivendell, they only find 8 of the Nazgul. They don't know where the 9th one is.
Yes.
And so I wonder if the 9th one is the one that came to them at the Anduin.
Oh,
I don't know.
Theory.
The other 8 may still be reforming at this point, which is why they wouldn't be out hunting.
Yes.
But
I'm
not exactly sure.
That's
I would have
possible. All we've seen for sure is that they've been commanded to stay east of the river.
Yes.
So, and I think it would have been hard to send him a little dragon monster thing if he wasn't reforming back in Mordor.
Yeah. Well, I assume he regrouped back to Mordor,
Yeah.
got mounted up,
that's
and
a
then
long
left.
hike. That Nazgul ain't got no rest.
Yeah, that's why he's flying now.
They're all flying now.
He's eepy.
Okay. Perhaps.
So, yeah, I don't really know what that means, but maybe that would help explain why they're waiting so long, because they don't want to just step out and see a Nazgul. At the same time, Gandalf fought off like a bunch of them. So
Yeah, well, they didn't have Gandalf after Moria.
well, they did.
Oh, you're talking about the Rivendell.
So still have questions, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
may as well mention that. I forgot to mention it last week when there was
Sure,
something
sure.
relevant. So what else is there? Aragorn says, "Oh, Ints are interesting. He knows of them, but he's never seen one. I guess because he's never really been in Fangorn before."
No.
So Gandalf says Treebeard is the oldest walking being in the earth, which is a funny way to phrase that.
Yeah. Well, earlier he said there are nameless things older than even Morgoth.
Yes.
So-
Yeah,
But
or
they're-
actually later. It's in the
Oh, is it
Balrog
later?
portion.
Okay. Yeah.
Gandalf tells it out of order.
But they're under the earth.
Yes, and crawling
Yeah.
and gnawing instead of walking. So you have that in Treebeard. You also have. So there's this mention. This is the big. This
Oh,
is the
no.
one I have questions on.
Let's hear it.
Well, okay. Well, there are several things actually. Let's see. I do have to find this. The old man the night before
Yeah.
was
I knew,
Saruman.
I knew. Yes. Is this a hood hat problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because the whole thing is they've been warned by Éomer about an old man who walks around hooded and cloaked in the forest. And then Aragorn sees an old man, but he wears a hat and not a hood.
Yeah.
So it's okay. And then they make a big deal about how the horses are happy. Instead of scared, they're just glad to run off. And then it turns out the old man wearing a hat was Saruman instead of Gandalf. And so that whole point about Aragorn saying, well, this guy is different, is incorrect because he is the same.
Right. Aragorn does say that.
Yeah. So there's that issue that's like, okay, it's Tolkien wanted to introduce a mystery. It feels like he updated it in chapter 2.
I can understand why you say that.
And then there's nothing.
Yeah. I think there's like a much simpler explanation.
By all means.
Which is
Try.
just like Saruman's mixing it up.
Yes. My favorite.
Grima just gave him this new hat he wanted to try on.
I mean, maybe so.
No,
It's a little thing, and it
sort
doesn't
of confusing,
really matter.
But I really don't think like that would be such an obvious thing to overlook. Like that's unbelievable to me that Tolkien would just overlook that.
Yeah.
I think it is just, to me, it puts like not Tolkien under a suspicion, but perhaps Éomer. And like it's not like he's evil or whatever. It's just like he mixed up hat and hood, perhaps, or Saruman knows his reputation for going about with a hood and not a hat, and he's trying to sow some discord.
Yeah, it feels very intentionally called out in the books
Yes.
to say, oh, Aragorn knows this is not Saruman, this is someone else, and it's hinting that there is a different old man wandering around in the forest, and then they find the old man wandering around in the forest, and it's not Saruman.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It is certainly weird and not a little convoluted.
Yeah. It feels like he just forgot to update that.
I respect that, understand that. It feels unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe it either.
Unbelievable that Tolkien
It's crazy.
would overlook something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it is a purposeful thing.
At the same, I mean, it doesn't really change anything.
It doesn't really. I wonder if it's this blending of identities, this difficulty of interpretation, of like of recognition of who the old man is.
Yeah.
That's something that's set up here. I wonder if that's the point. We could argue like there's a better way to do that or whatever, but I think that's probably what Tolkien is doing. Is who is this? Oh, it's Gandalf. No, it's Saruman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Saruman as he should have been. Gimli says, you looked a lot like him.
Yeah.
I'm glad, and Gimli's like, I'm glad the old man by the fire wasn't you, because I don't want to be completely raw. And then Gimli says, I want to see you both at the same time, which later he will.
Yeah. And I feel like the whole hat versus hood distinction makes that point, because it's very similar. It's headwear.
Yes.
But it's not the same.
I see.
And so like
you would have just left it more
like
clearly
Gandalf, I feel like I don't know why he felt the need to say Gandalf wasn't the guy last night, unless this is also weird Gandalf amnesia and he doesn't recall walking by
Those
them.
are people's two explanations. They either will take what Tolkien is putting in this chapter. That's what I do. I say, all right, Saruman was spying. Makes sense. He wants to see what in the world happened to his orcs.
Yes. But now he has a hat on.
But other people will say, well, I think Gandalf just forgot.
Yeah.
Which you can't dismiss entirely, but I find it boring.
It's boring, but I feel like
and against the spirit of the chapter.
Yeah.
And see, there's tons of factors here.
Yeah.
That in turn makes me sort of exasperated at the fleeting mention of Gandalf's amnesia, which is funny for one moment and then never comes up again.
Yeah. Very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my main complaint.
I respect that. Like you say, it's not
curious.
too big a deal.
All right. So we moved on from that. Gandalf struggled with the Eye of Mordor.
Yeah. Talked about that a little bit already.
Yeah. I do. I like Peter Jackson's visual representation of the eye.
I don't mind that if
I
it's
understand
a representation of his power and not literal.
Yeah. I don't think it makes too much of a difference either way. It's not like he ever takes to the battlefield to try and kill Aragorn.
That's true.
So,
but it is exceedingly goofy at times.
Fair enough.
Too
fair enough.
Goofy.
So there was that, and then they decide to travel a little bit. Well, they'll eventually decide to travel a little bit. This is where Gandalf tells the story about killing the Balrog. He was very cool.
Once upon a time, I fell into a pit with a demon. He died. Me too.
I died. Then I showed up in Lothlorien for a while.
There's a funny bit. This chapter is funny.
It is very interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
You might have something else on your mind first, though.
No. He goes to Lothlorien. He gets some messages. Is that what this is about?
Legolas just trolls Gimli.
Is there anything significant about the messages?
They're some of the more. They're not bad poems, but compared to other things, they're very basic.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Galadriel. But you have to give prophetic advice in poetic line.
Apparently.
Yeah, but she mentions going to the dead paths here.
Yes. Which will be relevant.
Very.
In the Two Towers, or is that a Return of the King thing?
It comes back around in Return of the King.
Okay.
He might mention it once or twice here, but no, it's a Return of the King thing.
Yep.
That's set up here.
Okay.
Elrond doesn't come and tell Aragorn to do this.
Yep.
Galadriel's like, you might want to think about this.
Yeah.
And she tells Legolas, beware the sea.
The sea is always right.
Oh no.
What does the Legolas one mean? When I'm reading it, it sounds like you used to like trees, but if you see the water, you will want to live on a beach.
Pro, your poetry interpreting is
Is that
getting
what it
better.
is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he just like end up living on beaches for the rest of his life? What?
This is another thing that will get unpacked
Okay.
in Return of the King.
Okay.
But it's sort of the elven danger that we saw sort of referenced in Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Is they can be content. The elven danger is like a good kind of danger, right? They can be content in this world, but they know they belong across the sea.
Yes.
Legolas has never seen the ocean before. So when he hears it, he's going to feel called and compelled to cross it.
Okay.
It's one of the only interesting Legolas developments.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, but this is like a progression element for him.
And this comes back in Return of the King sometime.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's going to start getting all sad and happy about hearing the ocean.
Fair enough. Then Gimli, be smart.
Oh. Gandalf fell silent and shut his eyes. He got distracted talking to people and had to think to himself.
He said, water.
Gimli's like, is there a message for me? And Legolas said, would you have her speak openly of your death? And he's like, yes, if she had nothing else to say.
Well, of course.
It's sort of like dark humor here that Tolkien doesn't usually do, but it's really funny. It's but no, she just says, I think back happily about like the peace we made.
Mm-hmm.
Kill orcs and not trees, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And Gimli says, this is cool.
He gets hyped.
I can't cut Gandalf's head off, so I'll find somebody else's that I can.
Yeah.
Then they travel away.
Yes.
And back to the whole Saruman Gandalf thing. The two horses that were scared away, Aragorn says they weren't scared away because they were happy instead. Then the horses that are called Shadowfax comes to Gandalf.
Yes.
And the two horses that were scared away, or not scared away, happy away, they come back. But it feels like one of the distinctions Aragorn made with why he thought the old man was not Saruman.
Yeah.
Number one, the hat. Number two, the horses were happy. And but it was Saruman, so it seems like the horses should have been scared away, like Gimli said.
Let's say correlation does not equal causation, right? Aragorn made a reasonable guess, sort of like we saw with his tracking. He was right about the tracking. He's only half right about the Saruman situation.
Yeah.
Because one of them's a guess and one's something he can interact with and like hear and think about.
Yes.
So I don't think that's not problematic. He's just half right.
But the horses, then Legolas says the horses were happy because they met Shadowfax.
Yes.
But Shadowfax would have been like right there, like right next to them.
Well,
geographically,
horses can smell better than people, right? So they perceived Shadowfax was nearby, and they went to meet Shadowfax, not to meet the wizard.
Well, yes, but Gandalf says yesterday Shadowfax was far away in the south. So how is Shadowfax close enough to be smelled by the horses for the horses to be happy about them, but also far away in the south?
Yeah, well, when interpreting ambiguities, you interpret the clear or the unclear from the clear.
Yes.
Maybe they were in the forest like all day. So maybe they moved south during the day. Or maybe far away is not far enough away from the horses telling that Shadowfax is there.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't that be like a mile?
I don't know how far.
That's not very far. Oh. Anyway, it's little inconsistencies like that where I say
it's not an
that
inconsistency.
is an
I
inconsistency.
don't think so. There's plenty of reasonable, non-inconsistent explanations.
Yeah. Well, when you find one, let me know.
I just did.
Well, Gandalf summoned Shadowfax with his mind
Yes.
because he was far away. So Shadowfax sprinted back to them and then just hung out outside the woods for the horses to come and say hi to them so that Shadowfax would keep them. And Gandalf wouldn't use his horse for another day. But he said he summoned the horse a day early, even though he wouldn't use the horse until the evening of the next day.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Sure.
That's a great explanation.
Of course. So you have your horse far away to the south tire himself out on the road to you instead of, letting him pace himself and get there in 2 days when you
problems
actually...
here.
No, this is just...
You can't say that Shadowfax has worn himself out by whatever pace he traveled.
I mean, far away to the south. It's just far away to the south.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that means there's travel time. That means there's effort.
There is travel time. There's effort, but she says like a wearying effort.
Fair enough. Maybe he is a magical horse that never gets tired. Also, Gandalf says it's a long way from Rivendell.
Yes.
Which nobody was in Rivendell.
Shadowfax was in Rivendell.
When?
Well, when we were back in the Council of Elrond, we read Shadowfax delivered Gandalf there. Remember, there's that breakneck journey from Rohan to Rivendell.
Yes.
And once Gandalf gets there, he says, okay, I think I used up my borrowing time. Go back home.
Yes.
And now Shadowfax is here in Rohan.
Yeah,
so he
I just
says,
don't really
it's
know.
been a long time. Last time I saw you was in Rivendell, bro.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
He says it's a long way from Rivendell, but you are wise and swift and come at need.
Yes. So he hasn't seen him since Rivendell.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
That makes lots of sense.
Well, way is road, is distance.
Yes.
And not time. It's been a long time since Rivendell.
Distance and time often overlap.
They can. That's just not how I would normally read it.
Okay.
So
that's fair, I guess.
It's a long road from Rivendell. But you were far in the south. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, whatever. They start riding. They ride across Rohan. Thankfully, the next chapter is much less nitpicky, much more obvious problems. No, not really. I
good.
mostly like the next chapter.
I love the next chapter.
I mostly like the next chapter.
Yeah. I have a few more things to say.
On this chapter?
Do you have anything else to say?
They ride for Rohan, and they look over, and they see a bunch of war happening in Isengard, and say, huh. And they keep on going, which would imply that the Ents are at war?
No. They see
different?
Saruman mustering his forces and crows and overworking the factories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Because Legolas says,
forgivable.
I see smoke. Gandalf says, that's battle and war. So I guess battle and war eventually coming, not actively happening.
Yeah, I think it is this hasty strike that Gandalf was just referring to.
From the Ents?
From Saruman.
From
okay.
Saruman.
Hasty strike? That could never be the Ents. Come on.
Well, the last thing we left off with is the Ents are
No.
marching to war, and then as they're leaving the forest,
I'm
see
teasing.
them at war.
That's fair.
Which is another timeline question.
But smoke doesn't have to
gets-
refer to like Isengard like burning accidentally or like against its wishes, I guess. But instead, he's got the factories going. You know. So
Fair enough. Okay. Yes. Final points.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful seeing Aragorn get hope from Gandalf. We talked about that. Other thing was Gandalf says, yes, we have hope, but hope is not victory.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those neat Tolkienisms I think is neat to think about.
Yeah.
You got to have hope. You do. But it's going to die if it's just some nebulous thing you have in the back. Like,
yeah.
Hope is at its best when it's driving you to do something.
Yeah.
Like, you can be admirable by acting even when you don't have hope, like we've seen with Aragorn. But it's not really admirable to have hope and do nothing with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's neat. A neat little bit of advice from Tolkien through Gandalf.
Yeah. And even in that, he says this is a war where the only way you can ensure victory is to use the ring. But it would be better to lose and not use the ring than it would be to win by unrighteous means.
Exactly.
Basically.
I think the Two Towers is really neat because it's zooming in on this theme. There's like bits and pieces of it in Fellowship of the Ring, but Two Towers really focuses on, like, the ends doesn't justify the means.
Yeah.
Which is the fatal flaw of Saruman and Sauron, right?
Yeah.
That's how they were seduced to the dark side, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We also see, I'm sort of exploring these themes backwards, but from the beginning of this book, and even with a lot of Aragorn and Gimli interactions in this chapter earlier on, Gimli is focusing on, like, he's still a great guy, but he's kind of negative. He's like, we have to go in the forest, and then we don't have horses, so we'll have to walk all the way back to Edoras. And Aragorn's like, let's just take this one step at a time and go in the forest, which is just really good practical advice.
Yeah.
Just one step at a time, focus on what you can do. They don't even have... And then later, Gimli says, we don't have very much food. If we find these guys, we're just going to starve to death with them. Aragorn says, we still need to try to find them.
Yeah.
No. And that's sort of like the extreme culmination of what we've seen from Aragorn so far. It's like, even if it ends badly, you still need to do the right thing right now, because doing the right thing is more important than achieving a good end. Because like, that's outside of your control, but you can choose to pursue something good. That's always in your control.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah. So I think that's neat to see come to a head here.
Yeah. I like Aragorn.
Yeah.
Gimli, on the other hand, complains about not having horses to ride through Rohan on, and then in the next chapter he complains that he has to ride horses.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I don't like the extent to which Jackson made him a comic relief character, but he's always been a bit of a comic relief character.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, anything else on the White Rider?
No.
Exciting. He's not even called the White Rider until the next chapter, but here he is.
That's true.
At the end of chapter 5. So next time, chapter 6 is the King of the Golden Hall.
Great chapter.
It's interesting.
Oh my goodness.
It is interesting. I'll give it that. We'll see.
Next time.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
That's copyright.
Probably. It's fair use.
If you never hear from us again, you know why.